What's up, guys? I'm Felisa Crisologo. So I will be discussing the module 3 of strategies in teaching mathematics, which is the cooperative learning structure. Overview. This module focuses on cooperative learning structure. Without the cooperation of its member, society cannot survive, and the society of man has survived because the cooperative of its member made survival possible. Introduction. Cooperative learning is an engaging teaching strategy in which small groups work together towards a common goal. In this technique, each child is responsible for his own and the group progress. It is very likely that the amount of time and engagement the children can show when they appropriately challenge in collaborative and pleasant learning environment. So for the objectives, at the end of this module, you're expected to first, identify different cooperative learning structure used in mathematics teaching and learning. Second, we have construct instruction for selected appropriate mathematics teaching. Third, demonstrate how the CL is utilized in teaching mathematics. Fourth, identify various classroom management routines to be used in CLS. So students' learning goals may be structured to promote cooperative, competitive, or individualistic efforts. In every classroom, instructional activities are aimed at accomplishing goals and are conducted under a goal structure. So we have types of cooperative learning. First, we have formal cooperative learning. So according to Johnson and Holobic, formal cooperative learning consists of students working together for one class period to several weeks to achieve several learning goals and complete jointly specific tasks and assignments. In formal cooperative learning groups, the teacher's role includes so first is making pre-instructional decisions. This means that teacher formulate both academic and skills objectives. Decide on the size of group structure, positive interdependence, structure individual accountability. Next is explaining the instructional task and cooperative structure. So meaning the teacher will explain the academic assignment to students and explain the criteria for success. And teacher may also teach the concepts and strategies to complete the assignment. So we have also monitoring students' learning and intervening to provide assistance. This means that teachers completing the task carefully or using the targeted or interpersonal group skills effectively. So next we have assessing students' learning and helping students process how well their groups function, meaning teachers will assign students to pairs, triads, and explain the task, answering the question 4 to 5 minutes. So let's move on to informal cooperative learning. Informal cooperative learning consists of having students work together to achieve joint learning goal in temporary and ad hoc groups that last a few minutes or one class. So first we have introductory focus discussion. This means that teachers assign students to pair triads or explain the task of answering a question in 4 to 5 minutes question and the positive interdependence of reaching consensus. So next we have intermittent focus discussions. This means that each student formulate his or her own answer. And also students listen carefully to their partners. And the pairs create a new answer that is superior to each member's initial formulation by integrating the two answers, building each other's thought, and synthesizing. So next we have closure focus discussion, meaning Teachers give students an ending discussion task lasting 4 to 5 minutes. The task students require students summarize what they have learned from the lecture and integrate it into existing conceptual frameworks. So the task may also point students what the homework will cover or what will be presented in the next class session. This provides closure to the lecture. Okay, so let's move on to the basic elements of cooperation. First, we have positive interdependence. So positive interdependence, meaning teacher must give a clear task in a group goal to students believe they sink or swim together. So next, we have individual and group accountability. So meaning the group must be accountable for achieving their or its goal. Next, we have promotive interaction. Promotive interaction occurs when members share resources and help, support, encourage, and praise each other's efforts to learn. Next is teaching students the required interpersonal and group and small group skills. It means that students are required to learn academic subject matter or task work and also to learn the interpersonal and small group skills required to function as part of a group or teamwork. So next we have group processing. So group processing exists when group members how well they are achieving their goal and maintaining effective working relationship. Okay, so we have elements of cooperative learning. So elements of cooperative learning, it is only under certain conditions that cooperative efforts may be expected to be more productive than the competitive and individualistic efforts. So those conditions are: number 1, clearly perceived positive interdependence. Number 2, considerable promotive or face-to-face interaction. Number 3, clearly perceived individual accountability and personal responsibility to achieve the group's goal. Number 4, frequent use of the relevant interpersonal and small group skills. So number 5, frequent and regular group processing of current functioning to improve the group's future effectiveness. So we have positive interdependence. Positive interdependence means that the first requirement for an effectively structured, cooperatively structured lesson is that students believe that they sink or swim together. So number 1, each group member's efforts are required and is indispensable for group success. So number 2, each member has a unique contribution to make the joint effort because of his or her resources and or role in task responsibilities. So there are a number of ways of structuring positive interdependence within a learning group. First, positive interdependence. So each group members receives the same reward when the group achieves its goal. So second, we have positive resource interdependence. So each group members has only a portion of resources, information, or materials necessary for the task to be completed. Okay, so number 3 is positive role interdependence. Each group is assigned complementary and interconnected roles that specify responsibilities that the group needs in order to complete the joint task. Number 4, face-to-face promotive interaction. So this is an industrial organization. It's a group efforts that counts. There's really no room for stars in industrial organization. So number 5 is individual accountability or personal responsibility, which means what children can do together today, they can do alone tomorrow. Well, according to Let Vygotsky in 1962. So let's move on to common ways to structure accountability. Okay, keeping the size of the group small. The smaller the size of the group, the greater the individual accountability may be. Giving an individual test to each other. Randomly examining students orally by calling on one student to present his or her group's work to the teacher or the entire class. Observing each group and recording the frequency with which each member contributes to the group's work. Assigning one student in each group through the rule of checker. The checker asks other group members to explain the reasoning and rationally underlying group answers. Having students teach what they learned to someone else. When all students do this, it is called simultaneous explaining. Interpersonal small group skills. So this is the fourth essential elements of cooperative learning and appropriate use of interpersonal and small group skills. Group processing. Group processing is the fifth essential component of cooperative learning. Is group processing. So effective group work is influenced by whether or not group reflect on how well they are functioning. And accuracy of perspective taking. So accuracy of perspective taking. So social perspective taking is the ability to understand how a situation appears to another person and how that person is reacting cognitively and emotionally to the situation. Creativity. Creativity meaning cooperative learning promotes creative thinking by increasing the number of ideas, quality ideas, feelings of simulation and enjoyment, and originality of expression in creative problem solving. Self-esteem. So self-esteem, cooperation produced higher levels of self-esteem than did competitive and individualistic efforts. Okay, so we have an assessment task. Our first question is, compare and contrast the formal and informal types of cooperative learning. The second question, what are the positive and negative effects of cooperative learning to the learners? So the third question is cooperative learning ideal for teaching? So fourth question, or the last, what are the rules of teachers' informal cooperative learning? And that's all.